In this video, we examine an oscillating liquid in a bent tube and derive the differential equation that describes the harmonic motion of such a liquid. This type of oscillating liquid in a tube is known as a liquid pendulum. Let us take a closer look at a liquid pendulum. For better visibility, the liquid in the tube is colored red. The bent tube is open at both ends. If the pressure on one side of the tube is increased, for example by gently blowing into it, the liquid is displaced from its equilibrium position. Once the pressure is released, the liquid level oscillates periodically around the equilibrium position. The motion occurs between an upper and a lower turning point. At these points of maximum displacement, the direction of motion reverses. In the absence of friction, these turning points are reached repeatedly. The liquid level continuously passes through the equilibrium position, where its velocity reaches its maximum. Let us examine the processes from a kinetic perspective in more detail. Initially, the liquid level is at the equilibrium position and completely at rest. The liquid level is the same in both sections of the tube. Now, if we displace the liquid level upward, an imbalance arises between the left and right sections of the tube. In the left section, the liquid stands higher than in the right. The weight of the liquid column in the left section forces the liquid back toward the static equilibrium position. This results in an acceleration toward the equilibrium position, as the liquid levels gradually equalize. Consequently, the height of the liquid column in the left section decreases relative to the right, which reduces the driving weight force and therefore the acceleration. The velocity toward the equilibrium position thus increases continuously, although the rate of increase diminishes due to the decreasing acceleration. At the equilibrium position, the velocity reaches its maximum, while the acceleration becomes zero because the liquid levels have equalized. The liquid in the left section now passes through the equilibrium position and continues downward. Below the static equilibrium position, the weight of the liquid column forming on the opposite section causes a deceleration, so the velocity gradually decreases until the liquid comes to rest at the lower turning point. The velocity then increases again toward the equilibrium position until the initial position is reached, and the oscillation begins anew. To mathematically describe the motion of the oscillating liquid as a function of time for the displacement of the liquid level, we need a differential equation. This equation can then be used to verify a possible displacement function. In the following, the corresponding differential equation for the motion of the liquid pendulum is derived. This is done, as usual, using a force-based approach. From this, the acceleration can be determined with the help of the fundamental equation of mechanics, which is directly related to the second time derivative of the displacement function. Let us now consider the oscillating liquid in the depicted configuration. Frictional effects are neglected in the following analysis. As is common for oscillatory motion, the movement of the liquid level is described with respect to the equilibrium position. The oscillation thus takes place in a coordinate system with its origin at the static equilibrium position, with the positive direction pointing upward. Let us now consider the forces acting on the liquid in the depicted position. In this state, a liquid column forms in the opposite section of the tube, as shown. The weight of this liquid column acts as a restoring force, driving the entire liquid back toward the equilibrium position. The mass of the liquid column is determined by the product of the liquid density and the volume of the liquid column. The volume can in turn be expressed using the cross-sectional area of the tube and the height of the liquid column. The height of the liquid column corresponds to twice the displacement, because the liquid in the left half is displaced upward by the same amount as the liquid level in the right section moves downward. Overall, this results in the formula for the restoring force as given. At this point, it should be noted that the restoring force acts opposite to the positive displacement in the negative coordinate direction, so a negative sign must be introduced here. It is already apparent that there is a proportional relationship between the restoring force and the displacement, which means that the motion is harmonic and can be described using the well-known laws of harmonic oscillation. The specific conditions under which these functions describe the liquid pendulum can only be determined by the differential equation, which will therefore be derived in the following. First, using the fundamental equation of mechanics, the acceleration resulting from the restoring force is determined. It is important to note that the restoring force does not only return the displaced liquid column to the equilibrium position, but ultimately sets the entire mass of liquid in the tube in motion. The restoring force therefore acts on the total mass of the liquid and results in the corresponding acceleration. The total mass of the liquid can again be determined from the density and the total volume of liquid in the tube. By substituting the formula for the restoring force into this equation, the density cancels out, yielding the formula given. Next, we consider that both the displacement and the acceleration are functions of time, which leads to the following equation. Finally, we use the relationship that the time-dependent acceleration is equal to the second time derivative of the displacement function. In this way, the differential equation for the liquid pendulum is obtained as given. The solution of this differential equation is the motion function of a harmonic oscillation. The condition under which this function describes the oscillation of the liquid level becomes clear when we substitute the displacement function into the differential equation. For this, the displacement function must be differentiated twice. The result is the function given. We then substitute this second derivative and the displacement function itself into the differential equation. By canceling the maximum displacement, the cosine term, and the negative sign, we obtain the expression for the angular velocity as given. The displacement function s of t thus describes the oscillation of the liquid pendulum under the condition that the angular velocity contained in the displacement function has the specified value. The first derivative of this displacement function gives the time-dependent velocity, and the second derivative gives the acceleration function. Since the angular velocity is related to the frequency f and the period t, the oscillation frequency and period of the liquid pendulum can be determined as given. It should be noted that both the frequency and the period are independent of the displacement. It should also be considered that, in this case, the time-dependent displacement is described using a cosine function, which has a value of 1 at time t equals 0. This means that at the beginning of the motion, the liquid pendulum is displaced by the maximum value in the positive direction. If the motion of the pendulum is to be described starting from the equilibrium position at time t equals 0, a sine function should be used instead of the cosine function. The corresponding velocity and acceleration functions must be adjusted accordingly. In the formula for the angular velocity, we have expressed it using the inner cross-sectional area of the tube and the volume of liquid in the tube. This is practical as both quantities can relatively easily be determined in advance. However, the angular velocity can also be determined using the total length L of the liquid column. To do this, the total volume of liquid is expressed as the product of the cross-sectional area and the total length of liquid in the tube. By substituting this expression for the liquid volume into the formula for the angular velocity, the cross-sectional area cancels out, showing that the angular velocity depends only on the total length of the liquid column. The same applies to the frequency and the period. Finally, it should be noted that the angular velocity omega is to be interpreted in connection with circular motion, whose projection describes the oscillation of the liquid level. If the angular velocity of a rotating disk is set to the value omega, the projection of this circular motion is synchronized with the motion of the oscillating liquid level.